Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that anyone that builds a mosque for the sake of Allah, Allah will build for him the likes of it in paradise. If you are looking to help build a mosque, look no further than my humble little mosque here in Koh Phangan, Thailand. Currently, we are trying to buy a small amount of land for a few reasons. One being that as it stands, we only have a small amount of parking and it's only enough for a few motorbikes and not even enough for a car. As well, the entrance to get into the mosque is like very, very small. And so we could, by purchasing this land, we could expand those things. And also, inshallah, by purchasing this land, it would allow us to expand the mosque itself and also have room for a small school where children and also men and women can learn about Islam. So the patrons of the mosque already have gathered around half of the money, but we need more, about $45,000 USD. So if you feel called to do so, please, for the sake of Allah, donate any amount, large or small, by using the link in the description down below. And may Allah bless you generously for doing so. Masalama.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What is going on, guys? It is Daniel, and we are back here again today. Today, we're going to be reacting to Devil's Message to Man. Okay, so this is, I think, by Merciful Servant, and, you know, hopefully we can, inshallah, we can learn something about the devil today, because, you know, if the devil is our enemy, you know, it's very important that you know your enemy. I think it's a Sun Tzu quote. If you know your enemy and you know yourself, then you don't need to be afraid of the outcome of the battle. If you know your enemy and you know yourself, then there's nothing to be afraid of. So it's very important that we know what tricks the devil is going to use against us and understand the devil. If we can do that, it can help us to better fight him off, keep him away. So without further ado, I think let's just get right into it.
As usual, you were not expecting me. I'm sure you can recognize who I am, but if you don't, let me introduce myself.
So right off the bat, so I'm assuming this is the devil here, but he says, as usual, you don't expect me. So this reminds us of the cunning and the cunningness and the unexpectedness of the devil.
It is I who worship God for thousands of years. I was the greatest of all slaves. My beauty lifted the hearts of the crowds. My light outshined the stars. And I was determined to ascend above the clouds to the high sacredness of God. And it happened. My wish was granted. It was a dream come true. I was rewarded by my Creator to be amongst the finest angels, the most loved. I was adoring all my eminence until your father, Adam, was created. I couldn't believe that I, the greatest of all, had to prostrate to an insignificant human made from clay.
And here you can see where the devil ultimately makes his mistake. He said, I, the greatest of all. Iblis was never the greatest of all. It was always Allah that was greater. But Iblis had this pride that made him believe that he was something really great, and this is ultimately where his fault stems from.
Difficult it was. I refused. I said no to the Almighty. I worship God for thousands of years. For how long had Adam served him? Why was Adam given the whole earth to rule?
I have to admit that acting here is a bit corny.
Clearly, I deserved it all, without a doubt. I am the one to rule and command the earth. Since the day of my refusal to kneel, I turned into the worst creature, became the enemy of God and his faithful servants. God promised me to enter hell on the day of judgment and to be held there for eternity. All this has happened because of you. I hate and envy you.
They're being really cryptic with the messaging here to almost to a fault, I think. That, like, if you read between the lines here, you can sort of understand the devil, but they're making it a little bit too difficult, I think. He said it's all your fault. Well, it's not our fault. It was ultimately your mistake not to listen to, not to obey Allah's command. And instead he's blaming it on us. Oh, it's your fault. No, it's actually your fault. So yeah, anyway.
The same way I envied your father. Since you were born, I have been sinfully harming your life. I will not enter hell alone. I want you to share the pain with me and the curse that will descend upon me. I want to see you burn, cry, and scream as I will. Do you wish to know how I will achieve this? I will uncover the secrets behind my deceptions.
Okay, so this kind of started with, what is the devil's plan and why, and now they're going to, inshallah, they're going to explain how.
The cunning tricks, the manipulation of strategies, and use it all to lead you towards sin.
Dramatic.
I will show you how I enter the heart of mankind to cause corruption in the world. You must be wondering why I would reveal my secrets to you. And don't worry, you will forget it all by the end of our meeting.
It's almost true. Like, the devil's so cunning that even if you know his tricks, like, devil works hard. Devil works really hard, and if you're not on your toes, you can be fooled pretty easily.
To start, I want to clear a misconception you might have. Sadly, I have no power to force you to sin. Only by influencing your free will can I drive mankind to disobey. My grand agenda aims to strip the world from religious beliefs. My strategy to mislead you is very simple. I first try to drag you to infidelity and associating partners with...
I'm not sure that's true. My agenda aims to strip the world from religious beliefs. Well, that term religious beliefs is... I don't believe it's the right term to use here, because that can be anything. And so, like, a Satanist has religious beliefs, just as much as a Muslim does. Your religious beliefs are ultimately the way that you choose to live your life, whether that's, atheism, or it's Satanism, or it's Christianity, or it's Islam. So I think maybe ultimately Satan's grand agenda is to lead us away from Allah, who is Akbar, who is the highest, who is the only one worthy of worship, and instead make us believe that we are all like gods, and that we should do our own will, follow our own desires, and which is ultimately worshiping Satan, because that's what Satan did. Satan worshipped his own desires instead of obeying the command of Allah.
Strip the world from religious beliefs. My strategy to mislead you is very simple. I first try to drag you to...
This guy looks like Jack White, or the Joker, or something like that.
Infidelity and associating partners with God, which is the greatest sin. If you resist and don't get tricked, I like this one. I then move to plan B, which is to call you to major sins, like abandoning your prayers, adultery, causing harm to your fellow man, drinking alcohol. If you were a true believer and kept steadfast, I don't get discouraged. I call you towards minor sins. If you ignore me, I then occupy your days with permissible matters that are not sins or good deeds, like overeating, pursuing worldly affairs, All these will prevent you from getting rewards. The way I do all this is by gradually entering your heart through your weaknesses. Through what you love most, I attract you step by step.
A beautiful recitation there, which unfortunately I believe I will have to mute, because if not, I will get a copyright claim.
Beautifying this world in your eyes, I make it magical. Hard to resist, tough to reject. Wealth, power, fame, and women become the center of all thoughts. The core that the whole world orbits around. I hypnotize you to run from one passion to another, committing evil endlessly. The more you people sin, the more I occupy your souls. And when you discover the truth that you became my slaves, you would be dead. If all these fail, I begin to plant fear and sadness in your heart. Poverty would become scary, so that you lie and cheat. I make you fear the oppressor, so that you don't stand up for the oppressed. I make you fear everything but God, except God.
That's pretty deep.
Once you remain undefeated, then it is time for my most powerful trick. I use my elite slaves, those who dedicate their lives to me and my agenda. I command them to manipulate your life, to harm you, prosecute you, and to distort your reputation. They can approach you from every side. With this scheme, I can diminish your willpower and strength to resist. I can disable you from moving forward towards God. In this way to God, don't think you can overthrow me. I will show you what no one has ever seen from me. I will whisper and invite day and night. I will enter your soul through what you love most to make your evil self meaner, greedier, needier. I will feed your mind with evil and daunting thoughts to diminish your determination. It is I who will be victorious. It is I who will last.
Nope. That's good news. Okay, I wasn't a huge fan of that video, to be honest. I think I was distracted by the corny acting a little bit, but also, I don't know, they weren't very clear. Maybe I just need to watch this one again and pay a bit more attention. Maybe it was Shaitan distracting me. But I don't know. Before that first recitation, I feel like that's when they were getting into the good stuff, and then they kind of took a turn. But honestly, the part that spoke out to me the most was like, if you don't do the major sins and you don't do the minor sins, then the devil will just kind of distract you with these stuff that's not like that offensive, but it's just stuff to distract you enough from getting rewards. Things like he mentioned, like overeating, and what else? What else did he say?
Permissible matters that are not sins or good deeds, like overeating, pursuing worldly affairs. All these will prevent.
So yeah, pursuing worldly affairs. I think this could be like perhaps like scrolling on the phone or watching TV, watching movies, something like this. Like just kind of spending a little bit too much time with dunya and worldly related matters, which I myself can admit this is something I should probably work on more. Yeah, I think that's probably my takeaway from this video, is that, you know, just because you're not doing major sins and you're not doing minor sins, the devil can still trick you with like really small things that you think probably aren't that big of a deal, but they actually ultimately are distracting you from receiving rewards from Allah. So yeah, actually, you know, if I learned that, then I can say that this was a worthwhile watch, and inshallah it was for you guys too. May Allah bless you generously for watching this with me, and inshallah we will see you guys in the next one. Ma salama.